Join us on the Swim Monkey.
Swim
Swim Monkey.
Swim Monkey TV. On the Monkey.
Join us on the Swim Monkey.
Swim
Monkey.
Swim Monkey TV. On the Monkey.
Off the blocks into a 2-day practice. Butterfly kicks and the hardest sport there is. Racing starts and don't breathe off the wall. If you want to make it to Olympic team at all. Flip, turn, streamline, Florida swimming. Under the flags and dry land training. Long course season and Caleb Dressel. Short course season, Elizabeth Beisel. Tune in now to the Swimmer Joe Show.
I see the producer in the background with the double start going, I don't know. I should pushed it twice, but it was funny. Anyway, we are here, Swimmer Joe Show, Coach's Happy Hour, of course. And, you know, it wouldn't be a Coach's Happy Hour without our buddy Sid down there in South Florida. How you doing, Sid?
Well, I'm still here, Joe. It's August 5th, 2020. My brother's birthday. Happy 65, Jack.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Jack, he's as fit as a fiddle, man. He's an idol. I'm trying to chase after him, you know. He's been beating me up, though, for 60 years. Hey, Joe, God. I'll tell you what. This crazy time we're in just keeps coming around and giving more opportunities for growth. And as frustrated as I'm getting, as hemmed up on this pandemic, without talking about that, we got a lot of great stuff to share tonight.
We do. And I do want to talk about something that I sent you earlier, and it's a graphic about the Florida, if you don't mind me doing that, Sid. Am I allowed to do that?
I think
okay. So let's get right to it. And listen, if you guys want to talk to any of us tonight, any of the coaches or any of the athletes that are going to be on with us, please do it in the chat. You can click the screen and ask any question you want of any athlete, coach, myself, Sid, anybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up this graphic real quick, Sid. Now, this is the Florida Swimming. This is all of Florida Swimming LSC. That's a local swim committee. The United States is made up of how many LSCs, Sid? You probably know.
Geez, Joe, I think it was 59 back when we did the redistricting a decade or two ago, but I think it's more in the 60s or so now, something like that.
Okay, so this is,
you would know. He can pop it right in for.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hessy's watching. He can know. Anyway, this is a survey that they did last week, and basically we're trying to narrow down how many kids are getting COVID from actually being in the pool at swim practice. So we have 80 clubs responded to the survey, 7,600 athletes in the pool. Currently swimming in the Florida Association. It is down 22% from March, 1st because of obvious reasons, little kids and things like that aren't practicing. 18 of that 7,764 have tested positive for COVID among 80 teams. 0 of them, Sid, 0 have tested positive. They were traced back to swimming. Now that's important. Why is that important? Well, we swim and we want kids to go to practice. We want meets to happen. We want to train. We want to get ready for big meets coming up. So that's an important survey that we did. If you coaches want this survey, we can certainly send it out to all of you guys so you can see it. But I think it's very important for all of us to have that information. And every LSC that's watching, you should do the same survey. I think
kudos to Florida and Charlie Rose, I think, was behind. It's of course it's not as scientific and factual, but you're getting 80 some people to respond. It's significant, and it does our sport. We're going to have to track it. We can do whatever we can to help identify it. But Joe, you're also talking about Florida Swimming, which has been in phase 2 for months. There's places in Florida like down here where we're still in phase 1. We're still not in our pool. Meanwhile, up the street, guys are having inter-squad meets. They've been in the pool really the whole time, but with everybody for 2 months. So there's that inequity. And I think USA Swimming's got a daunting task because the whole idea of bringing it back is going to be one of balance and also, challenge.
Well, it's going to be tough. And I know we don't need to talk about COVID because we've talked about it till we're blue in the face. And I know that I know, thank goodness, but all the athletes, they're fit, they're ready to go. And they talk to each other 2 or 3 feet apart. And, I get it. I mean, they just, that's what they do. But they're swimming in disinfectant. But anyway, we have a great,
let's talk some Gators.
Let's talk some Gators. And we've got We've got a couple awesome athletes here tonight. One outgoing, one incoming, so that's great. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Well, Kelly and Lain. Let's just get it out there.
Sure.
Kelly and Lain are going to be on, of course. Both from Florida, so that's good.
So we're talking about the University of Florida Lady Gators. Do they call them the Lady Gators there? I don't know. And
Lady Gators.
Knowles, the lady. I know when the Lady Knowles. I don't know, but I know some people took it. At our school, we were the Scots, and the Lady Scots. One of our administrators went nuts. We will not be Lady Scots. We're all Scots, and this was 20 years ago. So I think she was ahead of her time.
Well, our producer's a Lady Gator. Okay, she was a cheerleader. She was a Lady Gator, and she really cracks the whip. But guess who's coming on? The coach of the Lady Gators today, Mr. Jeff Poppell. Now, we talked to him a little earlier today, and there he is. Wow.
Right.
We're ready to go.
Roll it.
All right. Roll it. I'm rolling it. I'm trying to roll it here. Hold on. Here we go.
Well, as you can see, it's our Florida Gator episode. I could try to pretend I remember what I said.
Good circumstances that presented themselves to kind of, allow me to be at the group.
Well, Joe,
idea.
maybe. Yeah, I did get some volume somewhere down near the 3-minute mark of that.
That's all right. We're having some technical difficulties with Jeff, and I know Jeff's watching. He's probably going to give me a call.
It is our first time trying to use this new technology of tape and play, but maybe we'll get
Lady Gator right there.
Yes.
I leave it in the hands of my husband to do, and it's not working. So tell you what, why don't you guys go ahead and bring on Kelly and Lain, and while I go ahead and break up that video and be able to upload it in smaller parts for you guys.
Oh my gosh! Listen, she is an awesome person.
Okay.
In the
We
chat.
don't deserve her. You certainly don't deserve her.
No, there's not. But in the chat, we should give her kudos. Like people that in the chat that are watching and waiting for Jeff.
Yeah.
All right,
we'll see Jeff eventually, thanks to Bess, not thanks to Joe. But Joe, you're allowed a mulligan. So I'd like you to think about, these next young ladies we're going to bring along, because can you hear me? Yeah, I said you get a mulligan. We're lucky.
No, Jeff's going to introduce Kelly right now. Ready?
Okay. All right.
Man, what can I tell you about Kelly? You don't already know about Kelly. Oh man, she's a joy. I mean, joy to coach, but just a joy to be around. I think all of her teammates would say the same thing. She's a spark plug, full of energy. It's infectious. I think it makes everyone around her, excited and obviously, it creates an environment, that's fun. So definitely fun to coach, but definitely fun to swim around. But, in the pool, extremely driven, one of the hardest workers I've ever coached, my 27 years. So that comes with it. She's an overachiever and definitely, put 110% into everything that she does.
So there we go.
Here.
So we do have Kelly. There is Kelly. She is an awesome swimmer. She's a multi All-American. She has been scholar athlete many years, believe it or not. She is awesome. She never is a loss for words. I've interviewed her many times. She's been to Maccabee Games and done multiple swims there. She's got records everywhere.
I met Kelly when she was barely out of her, she was just a teenager in middle school, and her mom were just the most wonderful, warm people trying to help them find their way. And it was just a little too far to come all the way up to Boca Raton, but she settled in at Gulliver. It turned out to be a great move for her, where she did get her first exposure with Coach Jeff. And beyond that, Kelly, tell us about your life now. What is going on in 2020 for Kelly Fertel?
True.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And also, I should have you guys with me all the time. Y'all were hyping me up. I was like, yes, okay. But I mean, I've been in Gainesville this whole time because home for me is down in Miami. So in terms of COVID, it was just safer for me to stay here. So I've been staying here. A few teammates stayed here. A few international people stayed, and didn't swim for a little while just because everything was closed. And then I got back into the swing of things about 2 months ago with Coach Troy. And I trained with him for a little while. And then Coach Jeff was able to get pool space and everything back at the university. And some of the girls came back. So now I've been training with them. And I'm just getting into a new routine and just kind of taking it as I go. I'm not really trying to be too stressed about anything. I really wanted a pool. I have a pool. I have a coach. I have teammates. So, I mean, there's really not too much to complain about in my world right now.
Well, what you don't have is COVID. So that's a good thing. So we are good there. Well, it's good to see that you're still killing it out there. And, I loved interviewing you in the past, and you always take over the mic. It's awesome.
I do. I'm like, give me this. I got it.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right. So listen. Tell us a little bit about, and I've talked to you earlier, but tell us a little bit about, some really cool moments at Gainesville, and maybe something that sticks out in your mind.
Yeah.
And so in terms of just swimming, or just being a student there, in general?
Maybe something, yes, a student at UF. I mean, listen, we are talking about the Lady Gators here. If we want the best ladies in the world to come to Gainesville, tell us about your most awesome time that you've ever had in Gainesville.
In Gainesville. Because I was going to mention, so I have two, but one wasn't in Gainesville.
Okay, do your thing.
So okay. I would say the first one, it's not necessarily a moment, but freshman year, so that was 4 years ago now, at SECs, we got 7th. And looking back now, it's geez, it was quite a time. But I think being able to, not this past year, but the year before, we were just swimming the meet, and all of a sudden it was the last day, and we were oh, we're not at the bottom. And we were wait, this is so cool. And I just remember at the end of the meet, we were it was at one point we were only 30 points behind first, and we were just super in awe, and we were just having the absolute greatest time at this meet. And you would have thought we won the meet. I swear. We were and A&M was in the water, doing their thing because they had won. And mind you, if we could have jumped in the water, we would have. Literally, that's how excited we were. And I think it was just a moment to where we were able to sit there and just be all right. Okay. Years ago, we came in and beat 3 teams, and here.
So what was different? What made the difference, Kelly, from that freshman year where you came and all of a sudden here you are, junior, senior, if things have changed? Tell us how you get that change.
So a lot of things in terms of the team were very different from my freshman year and sophomore year to these last 2 years. So when I first came in my freshman, sophomore year, it was a combined program. So we were under Coach Troy, and then Coach Jeff replaced Coach Wilby as one of the associate heads. And so, which I didn't know at the time, like before it was announced for everyone. So I found out when everyone else found out that Jeff was going to be coming. And so when I found out, I was like, yes, this is like the best news ever. But I was obviously super excited. And because he's like literally a second dad to me. So for me, I was like, awesome. I have a piece of home with me. This is great. But I came and I mean, I had a great time. And I even think, especially my freshman class, it was 15 of us. So like 15 girls. And I believe it was more or less on the men's side. And we came in, and I think what was so different about us compared to every other class is that we knew coming in that we had to just set a new tone. There was 15 of us. At that point, we made up more than half the team. And at that point, I think every single person traveled to like every meet because our roster was just full. And like there was no one to like leave behind. And it was a great time. We got to train with the boys. And I think that's obviously something that appeals to a lot of people in the recruiting process. And that's something that I only looked at one school that wasn't combined. And so 2 years go by, and they decided, like Coach Troy announced his retirement, and they decide to split the program. And at first, I'm going to be honest, at first I was just like, darn, I really like, it's just something that when I was being recruited, I really wanted a combined program. But now that I have the separate program, I think it's far superior. Like, and it's not, and I'm not just biased because Jeff is my coach or because, or like anything else. It's strictly because just like the time that we are given, like just like the undivided attention that we're given from a set of coaches, or like in the weight room, it's like instead of having 80 plus, you have 32, you know? And so it's just like a smaller group. And I think in terms of the women's team, I think it just made us so much more competitive, like as a team. So I think before we did rely on the boys a little bit to whether it be lead the lanes or just kind of get us up and going. And I mean, I remember like this one time it was like Ben Lawless was like getting me through a set. And so I think we let the older boys just kind of like guide us and, you know, kind of get us going. But I think once the program separated, it was all on us. And I think it made us a lot, sharper on the edges, made us pay attention to details more. And it definitely got us just a lot more competitive in a good way with each other. And I think that's something that we were kind of missing. But I would say, and that was the first year when we got second at SECs. I mean, that made the world of a difference. Just having that individualized time broken down with our coaching staff, and like whether it be in the weight room or dietitians, like we were just able to have a schedule that just fit us a lot better. And I mean, and I think everyone knows, but like girls and boys, or women and men, whatever, like we just need different things, especially in college, you know? And so it just gives the coaching staff a lot more options on having to tailor to our needs. And so I think like just that made the world of a difference. And like for anyone who is watching or whatever, and, you know, I would definitely say, look at some combined and look at some like not combined programs, because for the longest time I was set. I was like, it has to be a combined program. And like I'm pretty sure like the only not combined program I looked at was Texas. But
well, let's look at it this way.
Yeah,
it was a challenge, and here's something special about you, Kelly Fertel, that I noticed in your little, and I've noticed this before, but your attitude. You're very honest, and you said, well, at first I wasn't really, but then I turned, and you start going into all the reasons why now you've taken what some people might have been a big negative, like, oh no, now I don't get Coach Troy, the great Olympic coach who I signed with, and there's no more combined team. I'm not, and you actually trusted the people making the decision. And what is even better is you turned it around now to become a strength. And through the years, how the team's done better, you certainly have done better. It's a great example of learning to really want what you have.
Yeah.
So, all right, so
Go ahead,
So-
Joe. We've got more though. Kelly, we're going to hear more from you. I promise. I
Oh,
promise.
but
Kelly,
I'm not worried. I'm not the one who's worried, Sid. Come on now.
Okay,
I
good.
am worried. I am worried because Kelly will be running this outfit in about 10 minutes. Okay.
Wow.
She'll be all right. So listen, Kelly, she had a great career at Florida. Now she's post-grad, right?
I am post-grad.
Yep.
Here we are.
We have incoming freshmen that are swimming at Florida. Some good ones coming in. And one of them is, of course, Lain Shahbaz. And let's bring her in. You guys want to bring her in?
No, we're extremely excited about Lain. You know, one of the things you guys might not know about Lain was actually my son's high school teammate. So club, they swam together at PK Young. So we're actually very excited about having Lain joining us here at Florida. I think she's got a tremendous amount of potential. We're really looking forward to working with her. But as you've heard and as you've seen, and now, you know, she's kind of out there now. She's very, very talented, incredible singer. I've got one of her songs. I think when you guys threw up, you know, on Instagram or on your show, her new release. I mean, I immediately went and got it myself. So, like I said, she's a tremendous talented individual, both in the pool as well as outside. And we're really excited about having her join our program here. And like I said, I know there's a bright future ahead of her for sure.
So we played the song on this show or your show, Sid. I can't remember which one it was, and that was good. And now, Lain, welcome. How you doing?
Hi.
So, look at her. She's all shy, but she's getting ready to have her third, fourth, and like she's gonna have like her third, fourth, and fifth song on Spotify. So you guys look up Lain Shahbaz on Spotify and check her out. She's awesome. So Lain, you win the 100 backstroke at state, right? You get third in the 500. You're a big stud. Tell us about your journey to Florida. And I know you live in Gainesville, and I know that you probably always wanted to go to Gainesville, but tell us about just a little bit about that process. And you going, oh my God, I'm going to Gainesville now.
So I knew that I wanted to, I actually at first wanted to go like out of state, but then I started talking with Jeff, and I really made a connection with him and also with the girls on the team, and also like swimming with Jack and him being able to see me swim tapered and untapered was really important too. And he knew, I feel like he knew what I was capable of doing because he watched me tapered and untapered, and sometimes he would watch me train and practice just because, like, you know, we'd be in the water and you have to like be getting out or vice versa. And I knew that Florida was going to be the right choice for me with the coaching staff and with like such an amazing team as well. So that's why I picked Florida.
All right. So listen, Lain, so and this has nothing to do with swimming, of course, but you're singing and you're learning to play the piano, and now you got this whole swimming career going and Spotify, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just through the roof here. When did you start singing? Was it last year? Like, you know what, I'm going to sing, or when was it?
I've been singing, I guess, ever since I could talk, but I started teaching myself piano this year in one of my classes at school. And that's when like it really kind of took off. I was like, Dad, like I want to learn piano like for one of my classes. And so I was learning it, and then I was like, wait, maybe I can create songs now. So then that's how the songwriting kind of started once I started learning how to play the piano.
Well, I know, Lain, that you did something my own daughter did to kick off your singing career, and that's sing the national anthem at big events. And do you remember any specific? My daughter went as far as let's see, maybe 8th grade. She was Annie in the musical at St. Andrews Middle School, but never took it past that. Then she got into water polo. But your professional career is amazing. But do you remember any moment when you were younger, say, you know, single digits or maybe 10, 11, and you're all of a sudden in front of a wow, I've got to kick this off with the national anthem, and you just rock it?
Yeah, so actually the first time I sang the national anthem, I think I was like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11, and it was at a roller derby tournament. And I was so nervous. So I was like, oh my God, like, and you can't mess up the national anthem. That's the one thing you can't mess up. So I was super nervous, but then I was like, once I got into it, I was like, okay, I got this. And then at the end, people started cheering, and I was like, you know, maybe I could do it again. And then I did it at another roller derby tournament, and then it turned into doing it at swim meets. And so that's how that kind of happened.
All right, so we get back to swimming here. We're talking about the Lady Gators, and we've got Kelly. Kelly's over here. Okay, Kelly, you've got a freshman right here. All right, and we know when freshmen come in, we're like, freshman, give it to the freshman. Hey, roll up the Lain line or whatever. So what are we telling Lain here about the whole thing of Florida? Because I know that there's potential athletes watching, there's coaches watching, there's a lot of people watching actually right now. What would you tell an incoming freshman about the whole deal, like the machine, the Gator machine?
I mean, as cliche and as like simple as it sounds, like I would honestly just say to genuinely have a blast, just like so much fun. Because I think just so many times, especially with so many different personalities, I think sometimes you lose sight of just like the simple things and just like going to practice, having fun. Like when you think about it, like you're living with your friends, which ultimately really do become your family. So you get to live with them. There's no parents. I mean, like, yeah, you have coaches, you have responsibilities, you have to do school, but I mean, you get to swim, which is like what you love to do with your best friends. And then you get to travel everywhere. And then you just get to compete. And I think so much of the time we get so caught up in whether it's individual goals or team goals where we're like, okay, we want to do like this at SECs, we want to do this at NCAAs. And then it turns into, and without meaning to, the fun just kind of goes away a little bit just because you do take it really seriously. But, and I think it's just one of those things where you just really have to just focus on having fun. And I think that's just like the one thing that as simple as it sounds and as like cliche, I still find myself I'm just such a goofball. And I think that,
we know.
But it's just finding ways. Because I mean, when you get on a team and as a freshman, you obviously want to contribute, whether it's in team points, GPA, like and I think people do forget that there are so many ways where you can contribute to the overall team success, and most of the time, obviously the number one goal would be score at SEC, score at NCAAs, because obviously that's the most you can do. But there's so many other ways, whether it's getting good grades. I mean, we have girls on our team that have 4.0s and 3.9s, and they're in like biochemistry, engineering. I mean, we have like girls that are just like wicked smart, but at the same time, like they're able to get those good grades and then like kick butt in the pool, And so it can be that. It can be like if you're having a bad day, as simple as just like being loud like me maybe and just being like, yo, like, let's go. Like, I don't know. Like there's so many different things that you can do by just being yourself and having fun that contribute to the overall team success. And I think that so much of the time that does get, I feel like, overshadowed by just wanting to do so well. And I totally get that because that happens to me still, but yeah.
So if you're just joining us, swimmers, if you're just joining us, it's 7:30, and I just, we have Kelly Fertel, Lain, Shahbaz, and Jeff Poppell did make an appearance, but he will come back.
My boy J Pop, yes.
He will come back, and I know he's watching, but he can't say anything. But he is watching. He's probably yelling at me. And then there's Bess, another Gator. How's it going, Bess?
Just an update. It's processing, and then I'll be able to upload for you. So just keep talking. Jeff is coming.
Okay. Anyway, that's awesome. All right. So Lain, and listen, we may talk so much, Jeff may not make it tonight. I don't know. But anyway, Lain.
Jeff always makes it. Hold on. Jeff always.
No. After all the work Bess is doing, Jeff is going to make it.
All right. So Lain, and this, listen, it's just us four. Okay. No one else is watching. No one else is here. Not mom, dad, nobody. No one's here. What would you ask Kelly about the Gators and about, what should I do? Are you biting my nails? What's going on? Where do I eat? What do I do? What would you ask her?
So I do get nervous before races, but I don't like to show it. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, like I'm so nervous. Like I like to keep it to myself. But at big meets, like I do get really nervous in like prelims and like if I do make finals and finals. So what would you do to like keep those nerves down at like super big meets like SECs or NCAAs?
That's a good question.
That's a good one. So that's something that I think the majority of swimmers honestly deal with that. And I dealt with it all the time. And And if you were to ask Jeff, I used to cry before every single 400 I think I've like ever done. And it was, we got to college and he was like, look, Kelly, we're at the All Florida invite in like Davie or something, like in South Florida. And he was like, there's no tears now. He's like, Troy's here, everyone's here, like there's no more crying. And I was like, okay. And even then, like so much of the time when SECs would come, and like I find the like both meets, NCAAs and SECs, obviously they're both super competitive, such different environments. Like to me, they are polar opposite environments. Whereas like SECs, I think is just like as close to, I think, Olympic trials kind of environment that you would ever get in terms of how loud it is, how into it the teams are. Like I lose my voice every time. And so I think just over the years, I've just learned to mind you, different for everyone else. And for me, it was just, I would get behind the blocks and I would every single time, I don't even know if Jeff knows this, but every time before my race, I always look to see where Jeff is every single time, no matter prelims, finals, what race, I always look at him. And then my teammates are always there on the side, cause we all like line up. And I always take a second and I'm like, all right, like Jeff's there. My team is there. They know I'm going to go like 110%. And that's just something that like I've like most people, you always try, but I think, there's always like issue, but like obviously for me, they know I will die in the pool before I don't touch the wall. Like I am going to touch the wall and I'm like, give it my all. And like so much of the time I just get so wrapped up in like, oh my God, I want to get first. Cause if I get first or if I get second, like that's points. But when I'm behind there, kind of like, let's look at my teammates. And I like, sometimes I give them a little wave or something. Not like one of the like, how some people, I'm just like, hey girl. And I just, and like sometimes one of my really good teammates, Tori, for the 4 a.m., she's always there. And she kind of always gives me like a double thumbs up, or she'll like do something funny and it'll make me smile a little bit. And I'm just like, you know what? No matter if this is the worst race of my life or the best race of my life, I know that my teammates are going to be equally as proud of me because they know that I've set myself up to have the most amazing race. And it's swimming. Sometimes you can do everything right. You can train hard, you can lift hard, you can have the perfect nutrition, and you get to the meet, and for some reason, and you can be feeling great, and for some reason, it is going to be horrible, And I think it's learning that it's not going to be perfect. And it's knowing that maybe your best race is going to come when you like maybe overslept by 5 minutes and you're running down to the bus because the team's leaving you. And then you just kind of show up to the pool and you just do it, But as like easy as it sounds, it is really hard. It's just kind of like turning off your brain and just racing the people next to you, And in my events, I was always lucky enough because it was always 4 a.m., 2 a.m., and maybe a 2 fly here and there and stuff where in my heat, there was always someone from my team, always, no matter what. And it was 9 out of 10 times it was Savannah Faulkner. She was all the time. And I always loved it because I was like, this is practice. I'm going to be okay. And it was this weird thing where I was just like, I'm going to be okay, And it's just like having fun. I was like, well, I'll just race this girl. I'll just like pretend like maybe this girl's Savannah's not next to me for some odd reason. Or I'll pretend like this girl is, anyone else. And I just like try to race. And then I just hear my teammates. And then it just reminds you like, oh man, they're cheering for me,
So Lain, you just heard from one of the best ever IMers at University of Florida. All right. And one of the hardest trainers ever at Florida. So what do you think about that?
You guys with me all the time. I'm like,
hey, that's from Jeff. How would I know how you train? I have no idea. So that's awesome. So very, very good advice from both of you guys.
Interesting that Kelly mentioned 110%. We'll see. But Lain, when you're going in there now, have you been in some practices already this summer, right, with Kelly?
I think some with like post-grads or just like training like while COVID was going on.
Yeah. But you guys haven't been able to lock up and do a fun set together yet.
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
So when Robert comes in there, bring him in because I know he's going to come in. That's his office.
I saw him. I saw him.
Are you at the pool? Bring Fast Robin.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So listen, I've got a couple of things. So Jeff told me, all right, ask Kelly. Okay, first of all, I saw you do some dance moves earlier. He said you're awesome at dancing. So he said,
oh God, no one believes I'm good at dancing because of my personality. I feel like they think I'm joking.
Dude, you were doing all this. You were doing all this business.
I have rhythm. No one believes me, but your girl.
That's it.
No, I'm not. No.
Joe, I can put some music on. I'll put some music.
No, it's not the right environment.
Irish? You want some Irish jigs? What do you like?
No.
Dude, I do a lot of Irish dance. One of my
I have some jazz. You want to dance?
Lane can sing. Lane can sing some rap. Kelly can dance.
Lane can sing before I do anything else. And that is for your sake and the viewer's sake.
The live act did it kind of like the Ted Mack Amateur Hour. It's before your time.
We need a whole new show if you want.
Well, we're just trying to do a little tap dance before we can get to Jeff. And I think if we have a little singing and dancing, it's perfect. Okay, then Kelly, if you're not game, all right, Lane, let's talk to you. What do you got? What can you
Lane. Listen, you are on Spotify. Are we on Spotify, Sid? No. Are you on Spotify, Kelly? No. Okay. So Lane, you should be able to pop off one right now. What do you got for us?
Well, I can sing the first part of my new song that came out.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna do it. This is so cool.
Let's do it. The acoustics in Robert's office are amazing.
Oh no.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. It's called Everything Moves, by the way, on Spotify and Apple. If you guys want to check it out after. But here we go. It's not funny, no, trying to make it sunny again. That's okay. Seeing my life get thrown away. There you go.
That was beautiful.
I love that.
She was just in the pool and she got out and started singing.
And it's just enough of a tease. It's already got me going to Spotify to try and download it. I'm gonna have that. That's cool stuff. So you're thinking now you're a singer and a swimmer, and you could parlay that besides national anthems. What about some places? Where do you sing at church? Do you sing at booze halls? What are you looking to do?
You're going to get a call from Joyce, Sid. All right, go ahead.
Last year I was in a band and we did have a few gigs in Gainesville and like local places, but I have not had any like performances by myself yet.
Well, I saw one of our national team swimmers, Todd Pace, looks like a lot of fun. His son, Mason Pace, is a professional singer down here and doing very well. He graduated from St. Andrews. He was on the swim team for about 6 weeks, 9th grade, but Todd had to give in. He was much better at music than he was, but he was and he's been a great representative of the music industry. They actually have him play like some earlier happy hours at some of the local places when he was younger in high school. Now he's 19 or 20. He plays all over.
All right. So listen, I've got a producer in my ear, Sid.
Oh yeah.
So let's see what we got here from Mr. Poppell. All right. And this is the Lady Gators coach, of course. We've tried him before and we had some issues, but here we go.
Jeff, you've been a coach at the Bowles Prep School level, then at University of Arkansas, back at Gulliver Prep School, and now back at the university. A lot of young coaches out there follow this show. A lot of them think that, hey, I want to go to the grass is green, or I want to get into the NCAA. But you've made such an interesting career and been able to make that change. What are the biggest differences when you transition from coaching high school age athlete to coaching collegiate athletes?
It's a good question. I appreciate that. I will definitely say that my path was definitely a unique one, and definitely probably a little unusual. And I had some good fortune and good circumstances that presented themselves to kind of allow me to be at the great places that I've been. But at the end of the day, I mean, if I look at coaching, I mean, so much of coaching is developing athletes, and I had the opportunity many years ago with Greg Troy at Bowles when we worked together there, starting out with 8 and unders, 8 and unders, 10 and unders, worked my way all the way up to eventual head coach after Greg had left to come here to Florida. And again, through all those different age groups and developmental progressions, you learn a lot, as it relates to what needs to be introduced at each stage to keep fostering that improvement. And, when I left Bowles after 13 years to go to the University of Arkansas, that college, I guess you want to say progression or level, something I had never experienced before. And that was one of the reasons why I chose to accept that opportunity. It was a curiosity, having never coached college before. I swam in the SEC, at the University of Georgia many years ago, and I kind of wanted to experience that next step of athlete progression. And to your point, it is different, without a doubt. It's still development, but at the same time, you're assuming that the athletes are coming in at the college level have already experienced 80% maybe of their development, and you're trying now to fill the gap for that last 20% to get them to maybe their ultimate potential. So I think my club background benefited me quite a bit, to be honest with you, because I felt like, even though it was Bowles, I mean, I still felt like I had a pretty firm grasp on maybe what the majority of the athletes that were coming into our college program had already received, in the club dynamic. So it made it a little bit easier for me to figure out what needed to be introduced or provided to them to then take another leap or take another step. We had a lot of Florida kids on our program at Arkansas when I was there. I recruited a lot of kids out of Florida, and a lot of it was because I knew them, I knew their coaches, I knew the programs, and I felt I could have more success, having that understanding and that knowledge. But it is different. There's no doubt, and I feel like when you in any situation, whether it's club, high school, or college, I think it's smart and it helps you if you have a pretty good understanding as to where they came from and what they were provided prior to coming to you, to kind of give you a strong sense of a confidence as to maybe what you need to provide to help them improve. I mean, that's the goal. I mean, it's no different here at the University of Florida. I mean, I think that the two ways that you improve your program at any university is recruiting, but also developing the athletes that you have. So I don't think that the ultimate goal of developing athletes ever goes away. That should always be the goal. But as a club coach, which I was in my 27 years of coaching, 17 of it was coaching club. That's what a club coach is. You're developing all different ages and talent levels and work ethics, commitment levels, you name it. And I do think it prepares you very well at the college level if you have those experiences.
And Sid's gone. I don't know, Sid, what must have been under the desk there a little bit. All right, there he is. So, he talks a lot of great stuff there. He's talking about the development of the kid, the kids in Florida, the training, that type of thing. And that's true. Sid, you were a college coach many years. What was it that you were looking for? Was it the same as Jeff was talking about then, or tell us a little bit about that?
I did my mute. Hey, I coached a lot of different times in college and high school together. And I think what Jeff's talking about, and Kelly can attest to it probably because she had them both in high school and college. There is a little bit of a difference, but when you're at a place that is a Gulliver, a St. Andrews, a Bowles, a kind of a professionally run, focus on the elite, you can learn a lot. But ultimately, the maturity level in college, you can count on them to be adults. In high school, they're still going to make high school mistakes, no matter how mature or how good the program is or how much tradition. In my mind, you want to build relationships, which is what Jeff was talking about. You want to build a relationship and have that be something that you can count on. Yeah, you want to get them to every type of success they can possibly get, but you get that relationship. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, and Kelly, so you that was a good point. So Kelly, you saw him as an age group coach, and then you saw him as a collegiate coach, of course. So now, what did you see that were some of his big differences? And then we'll get back to coach again.
Like differences as in like his coaching style from high school to college. Yeah,
I mean, did he all of a sudden flip the switch and go, "I got to be serious. I got to cut. We got to win. We got to do this."
I mean, no, which was kind of nice. I mean, I think Jeff knows who he is, and he knows who he is as a coach. And I think having someone, especially as a head coach, who is really confident in not only who they are as a person, but who they are in sense of coaching style and what they want to do, is awesome. And so, like, we know he's not second guessing himself. Like, he always has a plan. He has like I saw him reorganize it before we came here. He has like every single practice he's like ever written, like in a binder, and like he has a binder for every single year. And I know like literally I could probably be like, Jeff, what did we do on August 20th, 2017? He'd be able to, in his office somewhere, just flip to it. And I think, and what he was talking about earlier with the, like making, like building good relationships and stuff. And I've always, whenever there's like recruits or, incoming freshmen and even girls on the team, I think the one thing, especially with, and Coach Whitney as well, but with Coach Jeff and Coach Whitney, their number one thing is purely just communication and finding out, okay, like they do want to get to know you as obviously a swimmer, because yes, that's why you're there, and you want to develop them and make sure that they're able to not only achieve like their dreams, but it goes like both ways, And so he's always been so good about communication and getting to know you way beyond swimming. And I always tell people this, it's so unique too, where, for example, maybe with me and like, I don't really get into too much trouble, believe it or not, but he's so good about understanding that not everyone has the same approach, if you will, for if I'm making sense. So it's like, for some reason, like you can yell at someone and maybe that's the way they are receptive to the information. Maybe they just got to be yelled at, but someone else maybe just got to like talk to them and just like kind of explain them or show them. And he's all about like wanting to know the best style for you so that he can adapt what he's doing so that you are getting 100% of the information. And then like he can help you and you guys can talk about it, and as long as a swimmer, you're totally open to being honest and saying, okay, this is what I think I need. What do you think? X, Y, Z, and going back and forth. I think in any environment, but especially with Coach Whitney and Jeff, that's just like number one. And it's like so great about them.
That's awesome. And I know Jeff is listening. And so Jeff, you could sell your book probably for like $1,000 a pop to all these coaches out there. Yeah. I mean, let Kelly write the beginning, like the first chapter. She does the first chapter.
Just before we get too much about, Jeff,
I do want to put in a little plug so easily.
Collis Williams and Jeff had quite the rivalry when I was coaching in Tallahassee, and Collis was a young guy coming along. And I credit Jeff and Collis each other with, they both became excellent, athletes, not just through high school, but into college and beyond, very successful. But I remember in one particular ocean water race, and Jeff was big when he was at beaches. He was a very good swimmer, and I never got over that, because I think he just got Collis right by a nip at the end, and Collis heard it the whole way home.
I'm sure he did, but we have more Jeff, you guys. We have more Jeff. Ready for more Jeff? All right, let's do it.
Behind you.
Well, we've followed your career, and I've been lucky enough to be in Florida long enough since you were a swimmer in the Jacksonville area. You were growing up, and then, as you said, you went to the University of Georgia. So you talk about the first 2 years at Florida. What was it like when that football game came around and Florida played Georgia? Now, what was going through
Hey, it was
your
nice
mind?
being on the
You
winning
know?
side for a change. No, it was. I mean, it was interesting. When I was at Georgia, we used to get thumped by Florida all the time. I mean, without a doubt. And then here, I mean, Florida was, Urban Meyer obviously was real strong. That was right before I got here. Dan Mullen's doing a heck of a job. Like I said, he's turning around. But, Florida, Georgia football games, I used to go to that when I was in high school. Because, again, I grew up in Jacksonville. That's where the games played. So I remember going when I was like 10, 11, 12, all the way through high school. I went every year. But my parents were Gators. My mom got her master's degree at the University of Florida. So I was always in the Gator section every time I went to those games. But I went to the games of the days of Herschel Walker. So it was crazy back then. I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, arguably still, one of the greatest football players of all time. But there's not many games that compare to the Florida-Georgia game. I mean, it is incredible for sure. And I've got nothing but tease from all my, Jack Bowerly, who I swam for at Georgia. I mean, I get teased by him all the time, as well as the other coaches about now being a Gator. But I don't know. I've kind of got to get the benefit of the best of both worlds, from both universities. So they're both great places. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, that Florida-Georgia game, I've gone the last 2 years with my son. I'm obviously always wearing Gator stuff, and I'm no dummy but, by any means. But there's been several years my son's gone wearing Georgia stuff, so it's interesting.
Oh man!
Oh yeah, my first year here, we went to the Florida-Georgia game. I'm wearing my Florida stuff. He's got hey Sid, I love it. And my son's got a Georgia shirt on. At the game, we're sitting side by side. And
you had the split, the orange and red split. Anyway,
we did have the orange and red split for sure. But man, I was getting harassed like crazy by all the Georgia fans. They're harassing me like crazy. Oh, Gators, go home, you name it. And it was all I could do just to bite my tongue, saying, that I went to the school, University of Georgia. Of course, they know that, but
of course you know.
But yeah, Sid, it's yeah. That game every year is always interesting.
Hey, so look, we got Robert Pinter in here. What's going on?
What's up, coaches? What's happening?
How's it going? It's
Good to see you.
Here.
What's that?
It's always good to see you, Coach. It is like a party in here. Tell us something about Lain that we should all know.
You better keep an eye on her. No, no, very organized. I just love coaching her, and when she turns it on, you can't stop her. She's usually tells me in advance, Coach, I'm going to have a great race, and it. She sure does. She just knows it. She inherently feels it, and it's an awesome thing. And I always know when she's going to have a good one. Of course,
That's
we
awesome.
always do the opposite too.
Yeah, she's like, that doesn't look good. That's not going to be a good race. All right, well, cool. Well, listen, it's good to see you, Coach. I know I saw you a few days ago. We're going to get back to Jeff real quick. Hang right there, Robert, if you can.
Okay.
I'm going to get to Jeff 3. Here we go. All right, so now you're on the pool deck. Let's switch gears a little bit. We're on the pool deck with all the ladies now, and this is a crazy time we're in. How do you guys stay or keep the bonding going? I know March, was a letdown probably for everybody, but for the best, right? We didn't get a lot of people sick.
Right.
What did you do to keep them tight as a unit? Because I know when you guys are going to championship season, you guys got to be running on all cylinders.
Yep.
So what did you do specifically or have your captains do with all the girls?
Biggest challenge by far through this pandemic that we've been experiencing over the last 4 months. The biggest challenge was trying to keep and maintain the connection with the team. From athlete to athlete, coaches to athletes, on all fronts. Because when we got the word on March 13th that there was going to be not only that there was going to be no NC2A meet, but we were also told you need to leave campus. I mean, it was kind of all at once where we were getting all those messages. It was pretty immediate and it was pretty fast and quick. So there wasn't a whole lot of goodbyes. We did have one team meeting prior to everybody kind of dispersing. And but it was really rushed and really hurried. So there wasn't really a whole lot of closure at that point. So what ended up happening is, I started getting on the phone that night, actually, and started calling the seniors, because many of them, their careers ended, that day. And so those were my first phone calls, were to our seniors, to obviously just check in, seeing how they were doing, obviously to be able to just talk things through and help them cope, through this, horrible news. But at the same time, it was just a unforeseen end to their careers for most of them. They never ever would have anticipated happening. But then after that, since from a geographic standpoint, we're all spread out, all around the United States, in different places. That's when we started learning about this whole Zoom thing. Well, I would never used a Zoom call before, 4 months ago, but that's the best platform. It really has been, for us to be able to communicate with our athletes. And I remember the first time when I was trying to plan for our very first Zoom call, as a team, really wasn't really sure how it was going to go. I didn't really know how to run it. I really wasn't sure how to manage it, because we were so used to face in everything that we do. And our team is extremely close. I mean, it really is. It's very, very family centered. I mean, heck, my own kids are the same age as the athletes I coach here. So it does have a very family feel to it, with all of us. So not being together and then having to communicate virtually on Zoom, it's challenging. I think as the summer went on, we kind of figured it out and a little better. We went from a big team dynamic or a team Zoom call initially, which was not personal at all. I mean, it really wasn't. It ended up just being the coaches kind of talking to the athletes, and you really didn't get a whole lot of, feedback back, because the platform with 40 something people on the call just didn't lend itself to that. So then we started doing Zoom calls where we broke it up by class, because then it was a smaller number, and then we felt we could have some more dialogue back and forth. But it's hard, when you got a big number of athletes and you want to have, back and forth dialogue. It took us a few go arounds before we felt like we got it working the right way. But I don't know. I mean, we were just invited back to campus 3 weeks ago. And we just have a small group back that are here voluntarily right now. But man, it's been so nice to see them and to be reconnected with them. And it's been the hardest part about this, this ordeal that we've been going through, is just the separation. So to your point, yeah, you try to do everything you can to keep those connections the best you can, but it's not easy.
So it looks like we're going to be a couple of minutes late, and I know there's one more, Jeff, and I just want to, talk to Robert just a second here. And Robert, you're part of this Gator family as well, whether you like it or not. So, I mean, what's this? Yeah, I know. So what's this, the whole dynamic? And we talked about the machine earlier, and just the whole, how everything works together. And you're seeing the post grads, the pros, the incomers, the Gator swim clubs. What's your whole thing about this? I mean, it's quite a big machine.
It's a lot of work, and I feel like I really have to be on top of it every second of every day, almost. Like I often just literally walk up to Jeff's office. Well, I used to, when you could do that. Now you can't. But I'd walk up and say, what's going on? Anything I need to know? I'm fishing for information. I'm trying to get myself to make sure that I'm not missing out on something, because the machine, as you call it, it's such a big endeavor. There's so many moving parts that I'm constantly in a little bit of a fear that, hey, I'm going to drop the ball at some point with something somewhere, right? We used to have a pretty big club, well past 200 members. Active members, maybe 250 at one point before COVID. Now we're a little smaller. Not everybody's come back yet because we just don't have the pool space. But it's a juggling thing. So somebody was asking me today if I sleep at the pool, and I told them no. But some days it feels like it, because I'm here, coaching pros in the morning, then I'm coaching our elite kids, and then right afterwards, I was just finished with our little 11, 13-year-olds. And, I do it all as much as I can. Manage the club, help the kids, help the parents.
Yes, Robert!
Yeah. You know,
He
Kelly,
doesn't get so much credit. I'm like, and I see him behind the scenes, and he does work really hard, and I think he deserves, the appreciation.
thank you.
I agree.
Well,
I agree. I see it meets killing it too, man. And I think you're a very important cog in the whole thing. So it's awesome.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I always looked at it that I've got to be, I have a purpose, and I want to make sure that I do that job well, to connect the links. And I enjoy it. I love watching everybody. I enjoy learning from all the coaches. I enjoy, I'm never short for a workout. There's so many workouts on the whiteboard floating around every day, all the time, that I'm like, whoa, this is a great one. I'm going to save it, there's always something going on. Always.
Well, I do know, Coach, that Jeff has a book for sale for $1,000 if you need one. It's all his workouts ever. So am I right, Kelly?
He does. I mean, I'm like, I don't want to put him on the spot, but I mean, I saw him making copies before coming here because they weren't organized enough. Like, I know he has them.
Well, Joe, we just had Coach Don Gambrill on, and I'm sure, Robert, you keep all yours, but Don became a famous coach, and he had his assistant, Brian Gordon, just at the end of each season at Alabama, pack them all up and sell them. And it was long before the internet, and coaches were buying them like crazy just to see what he did. And he very creative, good coach. Everybody wanted to read what he was doing.
Troy told me the other day, he's like, Robert, I have 40 years of coaching books and I said, don't you dare throw them away. I said, we'll organize them. We'll create an online Greg Troy library, and then you can do that. I mean, my workouts are right behind us right here. And the first shelf, all the black books.
I need to make some copies. I need to make some copies for
Go
sure.
where are your workouts, huh? How about you, Sid?
Oh, I have plenty, Kelly. You want me I could send you a few, Kelly, if you need some.
Well, here's what I did. I was doing them on my phone for the longest time, and then and whatever. So, but my phone, there's a long phone story here where it's been in the water, wine, and beer and coffee 5 times before it finally died. But all my workouts were on my phone. But anyway, we have one more Jeff, and then we'll close the show. And I appreciate everybody here. Hold on, let's do one more Jeff. You guys want to? Jeff 4. Here we go. Let's move on to Olympic trials. Okay, yeah. We're sitting here. We're just before Olympic trials. Everybody's preparing. Everybody's getting close. They move it. What do you tell your athletes? What do you tell the kids specifically that you need to do for them?
You know what? That wasn't as difficult a conversation as the canceling of the NC2As, because the NC2As was definitely far worse in terms of a conversation as it relates to coping. By the time they had canceled the Olympic trials and obviously pushed back the Olympic Games, by that point, many of the athletes had been out of the water for a while already. So they were all in a state of anxiety. They really were. They're like, how am I supposed to, get ready for this Olympic trials, which is still out there because it had not been changed. And many of the athletes had already been out of the water for almost a month, I think, at that point, and they're just like, I had these goals and aspirations of what I want to achieve. How am I supposed to do that when I've been out of the water for a long time already? So to be honest with you, Joe, when the decision was eventually made to postpone the Olympics and then obviously, push back the Olympic trials, it was actually more of a relief to a lot of our athletes. That weight was lifted, and then all of a sudden they have over a year, to then prepare. And I had, some of our best athletes that had, some opportunity to do some big things at trials. They told me specifically it was such a relief when that news came that everything was going to be pushed back, because they had so much anxiety and stress on them, having been out of the water for like 3 or 4 weeks prior to that decision being made. Like, now I feel like I've got time, and to be even better, a year from now than I would be even this June. So it was actually a better conversation than you would think. Yeah.
These athletes that are now going into their junior or some of them senior year, and now they've lost not only their meets, but they've lost all that, and they're trying to have contact. And what messages would you give to those kids and those parents that it's not just about times, but what hope can they hang on to yeah, I could still become a Gator if only.
Second wisdom is probably going to be, the questions I get a lot are as it relates to recruiting, and I think Sid, you mentioned earlier about, the high school athletes that are going through, this process, maybe just dealing with COVID and so forth. I said, regardless, I think the most important thing, this is the advice I used to give my athletes when I was coaching club, at Bowles and at Gulliver. The most important thing as you go through this process, is finding the right school for you. It's all about fit, so some people are all apprehensive about the timeline with recruiting because we're, under dead period and so forth. To me, it's take as much time as you need, to make the most confident decision that you can. The decision that everybody has to make as it relates to, choosing a school, it's a big decision. You never want to go into it, expecting to transfer if it doesn't work out or anything like that. You want to go into it expecting it to be, the decision you're sticking with, through your college career. So, as you go through it, stay true to, the things that are most important to you in choosing a school and what your priorities are to you in choosing a university, and let that guide you, and I think eventually you'll get to the finish line and be able to identify that school that you think is, the best fit for you. And I think that's the number one priority as you go through this process.
So great words there from Jeff and Sid, and recruiting is a tough beast. That is for sure. All right, so listen, Sid, this is the first time we've ever been over in the coach's happy hour, 60 minutes happy hour, because it's the Lady Gators. So I'm gonna we know, yeah.
Oh yes, Sid, let's go.
Did you show the shirt yet? Did you show the shirt yet?
Oh yeah, I showed him the shirt.
I need to buy one of those for Jeff. Jeff needs.
Yeah, I got it. In game, I'm big supporter with my son swimming there, and love Coach Troy. Been there, and now with Jeff taking over, I think you ladies are in good hands. So here's to the future, and Lady Gators, go Gators.
Go Gators. Now I'm gonna listen. We always do a little last piece of just a little bit of something from each of you, and I know that Kelly and Lain have something. So Kelly, ladies
first.
Okay, well let's go freshman first, right? Because she's a freshman.
Yeah, we're gonna just. I'm like senior plus, so.
Yes. Okay, Lain, go ahead.
Just okay. What do I say? Just say something like
it's just gems, like a gem, like whatever. Just give us something that you want to leave us with.
Hey kids, try as hard as you can. Blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I would say always just like try your hardest, no matter how good or bad you're feeling. If you know that you're not gonna have like the best practice, like you don't feel good, like pick something to work on. Be like, oh, this practice I'm gonna work on not breathing into my walls, or I'm gonna work on underwater's out of the walls. Just pick something that you know that you can work on that practice, even if you know like you're not gonna like do your best. But yeah, just always try hard and pick something to work on, because I feel like that'll help a lot.
That was pretty good, Kelly.
I mean, a coach's dream, Joe. Robert must love you, Lain. He must do everything.
Yep. So now we're going to see what 4 more years on this earth does for you. So Kelly,
the real story. Ahead. Okay, Kelly.
Okay. Joe, we all know this isn't going to be that serious. It's me doing it. Come on now. I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing, I mean, like, mind you, I know I'm going to be biased, but like Florida is, in terms of like UF is just the greatest school like on earth. And I think people don't really give it enough credit. And like, there's just so many like resources available in terms of support outside of the pool. And they really do care about us, not only as our respective sports, but I mean, they do care about what we want to do in the future, and they really do build us into like very well-rounded individuals. But that was just my small plug, But I mean, besides that, I would just definitely, I don't know, just be invested in the process. I think a lot of the times, especially when you're transitioning into college and stuff, and whether it's a coaching change or whatever it is, I've always been such a strong believer in having to have that like 110% trust in your coaching staff and your support staff. because I think without that, there's just, in my opinion, there's just no way you can be successful as a swimmer or as a team or as a coach, you know? And mind you, I can't really speak on behalf of the coaching side, but I think, you know, and whatever you're doing, whether you're in the weight room or if you're in the pool, you do have to have that, obviously, a level of respect and everything, but you really do have to trust the people who you're working with and the people around you, whether they're your teammates and stuff, just because at the end of the day, they'll make you better. And, you know, in terms of Coach Jeff and Coach Whitney, I know they're always right. You know, like sometimes I don't want to admit it, but like Jeff is the man. He's always right. Whitney's always going to be right. And I trust them with everything. And I think that's part of the reason why I was able to end my career well, it's not over yet, but become more successful as the years have gone on.
It's like your mom. Your mom is always right. And I don't know why that always is, but they're always
Nothing's always right. Yes.
Always right. I don't get it. But anyway, listen, I know that we kept you guys way longer than we told you. So I owe you all a Starbucks card. I know I'm not allowed to do that. It's against rules.
Well, I'm not happy anymore, Joe.
Kelly. All right, Kelly, I'm going to hook you up, Kelly and Lain. You know, I'll see you in 4 years for yours. Okay. So anyway, Sid, thank you very much. Girls, it's been great. And we will see you. Sid's got another awesome show on Monday, along with all the other things from Swim Monkey TV. So tune in. And girls, we wish you the best of luck and all your stuff that's coming up. Go Gators. Go Gators. All right, we'll see y'all.
Bye.
Join us on the Swim Monkey.
Swim
Swim Monkey.
Monkey TV. On the Monkey.